What's good, everyone? Today we have the first video of a long series. How strong is Natsu? My name is Chronicler, and I'm going to primarily be doing Hiro Mashima content, from power scaling to narratives to fun facts and more. In this video, I'm going to be going over the power of Natsu in volumes 1 through 16, as you could probably tell by the title. Why those specific volumes, you ask? Because that would be the season 1 equivalent of the manga, and I want to make an equal progression series for the manga and anime to show the differences in the power scaling between the two mediums. Without further ado, let's get into it. First off, Natsu's first noteworthy feat is actually in just chapter 1, with his fight against Bora the Prominence. The fight starts with Bora blasting Natsu with fire magic, and it not doing anything whatsoever. Natsu then proceeds to eat the flames and berate Bora for having bad tasting fire. Natsu then uses a fire dragon roar and send multiple people flying and punches Bora's lights out. Lucy then comments that Natsu got too carried away and that the whole harbor is a wreck. But we see later on in the council's report that Natsu destroyed half the harbor, which is a decent display of destructive capacity, also known as DC, to start the series off with. Next up is something rather impressive for scaling and statements, which applies to very early in the series. On Galuna Island, we have the group there for an S-class mission. A mission where all the residents are humans that turn into demons when night falls, and the moon is strangely purple at night, which leads the Elder to ask the gang to destroy the moon to stop this curse. And Urza's straight up answer is, destroying the moon is a simple matter. Like, damn, that was straightforward. And I know some people are going to say that earlier in the arc, the other members of the team said they would, but people are forgetting the context of these two situations. For Gray, Lucy, and Happy, they believed it was impossible for them to do so, with Lucy even stating they have to think of something else to get rid of the curse. For Natsu, he was decently confident he could pull this off, he just didn't know how many punches it would take, which is interesting because of later reasons that I'll go over a bit later. Lucy also tells the villagers that they will destroy the moon to simply soothe them, which she had time to think about why they would ask for such a thing. Gray also entertains the idea, saying, if we could destroy it, we wouldn't. Lucy also experienced the Elder's desperation multiple times and had to reassure them that they would in fact destroy the moon. Urza then comes to the island, trying to get the rest of the team to leave and go back to Fairy Tail, and Gray stands his ground, stating that he will see this mission to the end. Urza then decides it's better to just get the mission done so that she can take them back to the guild for their punishment, as they are not S-class wizards and should not be on this mission. Which, not too long after, she tells the Elder that it is a simple matter to do so. She decides to interrogate the Elder and villagers to see if there is anything she is missing, which after a bit of investigation, she figures out the curse, which even this mysterious person named Zalti confirms that she figured it out what she really needed to do after she said she would destroy the moon. Urza then claims loudly that she is going to destroy the moon, and Gray is doubting the idea that Urza would be unable to complete the task. Even in the raw, original Japanese manga, which was translated by 02, has a slightly different wording, but has the same implications, with it stating, destroying the moon is impossible, even for Urza, isn't it? Urza also asks Natsu to help her yeet her spear at the moon, which he is all too happy to do so. We see it not hit the moon, but a giant magic membrane covering the island. And when she throws it, she says, please make it there, which isn't a part of her not being able to reach the moon. Kanji here shows that it's an expression of hoping the attack will work. An example of basically she wants the spear to reach the barrier since she doesn't know exactly where it is, just that it's in the sky over the island to a degree, and she's basically asking her spear to reach it. It's like if I'm playing basketball and I toss the ball and I say, please reach the net, please make it, please reach it. It's because I want to reach the basket, I want to make a goal. It's not that I can't do it, it's just more so I'm leaving it up to luck. It works similar to that, which is more so a phrase that already implies that they can do it. It's just up to chance to actually land. It is Urza demanding the spear to reach it, which makes sense because the giant armor isn't her strongest armor, so the distance of the thrown sphere wouldn't be at its peak, as if she were to use one of her more physically powerful armors, like her Purgatory armor. She used the giant's armor due to the fact that its spear can cancel out this barrier's magic. So, this is showing that Urza needed extra power to shatter the membrane, which makes sense due to the nature of the Moondrip spell, which was strong enough to cancel out the magic seal of a Wizard Saint tier character. And in the Tower of Heaven arc, Jalal states that Urza is a Wizard Saint tier wizard, and with that, we'll get into that a bit deeper later. In the next arc, we have Urza make a powerful claim. She tells Natsu to let loose, that he still has power that he isn't using, that he has to protect everyone, that he can surpass even her if he goes all out. Which we have even more evidence for this in a later arc, where Makra believes if Natsu stops holding back, he might be able to beat Loxus, who is stronger than Urza. And the thing that is supported in this arc, the guild mech is stated by Totomaru to be the guild's greatest weapon, though it would be above the Jupiter cannon, and the ability of the mech is a spell called Abyss Break, which Loki states would take out everything, all the way to the Cardia Cathedral, which is showing a greater DC than the Jupiter cannon. And coupled with Toto's statement, it would have a higher AP as well. Abyss Break is powered by the Element 4, and if you defeat them all, the spell casting will stop completely. So Element 4 equals Abyss Break. This matters a lot due to the fact that Gagio is stated by Mira to be the most troublesome to deal with, and the fact he is just stated to be the strongest member of the guild. Within the Element 4, we have Audia, who, while holding back, is the strongest of the four. Then him going all out is shown to be a large jump in power, so he would be a decent chunk beyond the other three. And Gagio is above full power Arya in just his base form. The reason why base Gagio is above full power Arya is due to full power Natsu being base Loxus tier due to Makarov's statement, and Loxus is above Urza, who was able to barely beat Arya, and she was left completely fatigued. And when Urza tells Natsu to stop holding back, and he goes basically Super Saiyan, he and Gagio trade blows while Gagio is in base. Then we see Gagio use Steel Scales. In Happy states, it makes attacks several times more powerful, but this is a mistranslation. As the kanji states, it is a double in power, which is a good bit weaker than the mistranslation. Steel Scales makes Gagio's attacks twice as powerful than base. So base Gagio is already above full power Arya, then Gagio gets 2 times stronger, which means he would be stronger or as strong as the entire Element 4 put together in terms of power. And Natsu contends with him. And then they say they are just warming up, which means they got even stronger than that. And to add more consistency, Natsu ends up destroying the entire mech. So, Natsu should be solidly moon leveled due to all this info so far. Now, on to the epitome of Natsu scaling in these volumes. The Tower of Heaven and the Etherion Cannon. In the Tower of Heaven arc, we see the council talking and discussing what they need to do to stop the R system, also known as the Tower of Heaven, One member suggests sending an army to stop it. Then Sigrain suggests the Etherion. And now we come to a very large mistranslation. One of the members of the Magic Council states that Etherion is the cross-dimensional destruction magic. So once again, to the professional translator 02, he states here that it would actually be, it's a transcendental space-time destroying magic? 02 then proceeds to explain and break the kanji down in depth. It has jiku, which means space-time. It's formed by the kanji of time and the kanji of space. Space-time is 4-dimensional. Then we have chaozetsu, which means transcendence. But in this case, it means transcendental because it's an adjective attached to space-time destroying magic. And it states the word chaozetsu entails superiority over something. In this case, space-time. The member of the Magic Council is stating that the destructional capabilities in the magic of the canon are above space-time, which we established is 4D. This makes the canon bare minimum Uni plus in attack potency, and what the other member states doesn't contradict this prior shown evidence, because they state it can wipe out an entire country. That is DC, or the destructive range. If you want to learn more about that, check Surfbone's video on it, link down in the description. So, let's get into why Natsu would scale to this canon. First off, we see the fact that Natsu eats a piece of the tower, which is a lacrima that holds the power of Etherion. Jalal also states that Natsu took Etherion into himself, which boosted him to unlock Dragon Force, which, small spoiler for a later arc, is only a 2 to 3 times amp by Natsu's own admission. So, just from this, Natsu would scale to the energy. But let's make this more solid. Natsu and Jalal have a fight, and Natsu in Dragon Force beats Jalal into the ground pretty easily, which is important to note. We then see all the energy in the tower go shooting up into the sky, and Natsu finds Urza in that raging magic and got her to safety. He took Etherion's magic to the face and wasn't put out of commission, and it also agreed upon by the entire Tower of Heaven group that Jalal was able to fuse with Etherion and force the magic to shoot up into the sky to avoid a giant explosion. This means Jalal himself would scale to the energy to a good degree, which gives more evidence of Natsu scaling to it. This shows that Natsu scales to the energy potency of the Etherion canon, which is Uni plus, which means Natsu himself would scale to Uni plus here. And for the final piece of evidence, in volume 9 of the Fairy Tale Guides, which are also graciously translated by 02, it states that heavenly body magic is super powerful magic comparable to the power of the cosmos, and that it can pulverize opponents with a power on a cosmic scale, which cosmos literally means the universe as a whole, which would include the space-time, and the kanji for cosmos that is used, Uchu, which means cosmos, universe, or space. And on that same page, we learn more about the spell Alteris. People believed it was a black hole, dark energy, and many more different types of things. But it states that when Jalal uses the spell, he creates a microcosm and hurls it at the opponent. Now, what does that mean? A microcosm is defined as a small place, society, or situation that has the same characteristics as something much larger. So what does that entail here? Well, we already established Jalal's magic being on par with the cosmos and destroys things on a cosmic scale, and Jalal already scaling to the Etherion canon, which is already Universal Plus. And we see Alteris have stars inside of it. It stands to reason that Jalal is throwing a shrunken down universe, and since this would be cosmic, this would entail the entire universe, which would be the space-time of the universe, which is 4D. It would encapsulate all of that. It would encapsulate that characteristic. Jalal literally throws an entire universe at the opponent. This solidifies that Natsu, Jalal, and other characters that scale to them at Uni plus in power. which includes any Wizard Saint tier character, due to Jalal being a Wizard Saint, and Urza being stated to be Wizard Saint tier in power, which leads us back to Galuna Island. She was able to shatter the membrane that could cancel out the magic of a Wizard Saint tier character, which would have made that feat Uni Plus as well. So they were this strong for a good amount of time. For the rest of the volumes up to volume 16, ending at the Fantasia Parade, you don't really have any statements other than character above character, so it would be redundant to go over as it wouldn't change Natsu's tier of power. Now this brings us to the end of the video. 02's Discord will be down below if you want to commission translations, and so will be search videos that I addressed in the video. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Peace.